injuries are a part of the game. At some point, pretty much everybody's going to go through it, and some more severe than others. The top three toughest days of my life. The third toughest day of my life actually had to do with the injury of my son. The toughest day of my life and the third toughest day of my life came about 2, 3 months apart. But let me give you a little more detail because the number three toughest day of my life is the premise of this episode. The number one toughest day of my life is when my daughter was prematurely diagnosed with having leukemia. They ran her through a bunch of tests. She was poked on more in the 5 days we were in the hospital than I've been in my whole life. And, that was a tough time just hearing that diagnosis because, you just imagine, she's, a year and a half and diagnosed with having leukemia. That was a tough day. It turned out it was only just a little bladder infection that she hadn't had any problems with since. My number two toughest day of my life is when my middle sister, my big sister, Michelle, I got a call when I was at work that she had just had a heart attack and had passed. I've never had anyone, that close to me pass away. And, it was you could imagine a tough day, tough year. Probably the worst year of my life. Definitely the worst year of my life was when I lost my big sister, Michelle. Still miss her to this day. The third toughest day of my life is what we're going to talk about today in this episode. It was the day that my son, Jojo, broke his leg. It was February 21st, 2017, 7:58 p.m. Practice ends at 8 o'clock. So it was 2 minutes before practice ends. We were scrimmaging, doing an inter-team scrimmage. And I said that the next team that scores wins. The other team got a steal and a fast break. Jojo, being the relentless defender that he is, chased the player down, tried to make a play on the ball, had a collision. His leg hit the wall, and his leg snapped. At the time of Jojo's injury, we were just coming off a win that Sunday against one of our biggest rivals. It was another skill center team. It was skill center elite class of 2025 white team. We were the orange team. Traditionally, when we first started out, they would beat us by 30, 40 points every time. And we were able to close the gap and finally get a significant win over them. At the time of his injury, Jojo was playing the best basketball of his career so far. I still don't think that he has reached where he was at the time of his injury because he missed a lot of work last year. But, he was really, on top of his game at the time.
So, when I broke my leg, my dad was telling me that the next point wins. So, I had threw it past to Mason, and he tried to throw it back. So, Caleb intercepted it and tried to run down the court and score. So, I went over there to try to block him because I didn't want to lose. And the wall is very close in this gym, so when I jumped up to try to block it, my leg hit the wall. And when my leg hit the wall, I came down, not even knowing that my leg was broken. And I turned around and I saw my leg. And I thought it was broken, but my dad thought it was dislocated, and he tried to pull it back in place, which didn't work and didn't feel good at all. So it was a whole bunch of snapping noises and stuff. So they took me outside and laid me on the ground until the ambulance. So I had to go to the ambulance, and I hit that pad right there, somewhere over there. I hit the pad around here. But back then it was a Rams thing, so it's not the same pads. They changed the point.
Here's a picture of Jojo's injury. I hadn't showed anybody this picture. Only the people who were there and saw it live have seen this visual. It was in my phone for a while, and it really turns my stomach every time I see it. Initially, I thought it was dislocated where he told you, and I tried to pull it back straight, but it was just cracking, and I mean, it was the most gruesome sound I've ever heard in my life that still sticks in my head to this day. And this is where Jojo was getting pushed back for his first surgery, where they were going to basically do what I did. The doctor initially said that he was going to sedate him to do it, which, I was fine with that. Jojo was nervous, but, he went back. They sedated him and pushed him back for the procedure. My wife Tasha and I had to sit in the waiting room to, wait for him to come out. Here's a picture of Jojo in the recovery room, and as he's coming to, when he came to, we had a discussion of how things went, and I really wanted to fight the doctor, because when he told me that he was going to sedate Jojo to reset his leg, I didn't know that sedating means that they were going to give him the stuff that, Bill Cosby was accused of, giving these females or whatever. But, when Jojo came to, he told me that he could hear everything and he could feel everything that they did to him. He said it hurt so bad, but he couldn't move and he couldn't scream. And he said it was like a bad dream. He said it's the worst pain he's ever felt. And had I known that sedating him meant that they were just going to do that, I would have, recommended or made them put him under as opposed to doing that. And this is where Jojo was getting pushed back for his second surgery. The surgeon the actual surgeon that came through, he wasn't happy with what he saw as far as them resetting his leg. Now, this is not the same guy that sedated him. This doctor actually put him under, and he put some pins in his leg. He put 2 pins in to hold it straight. Jojo actually had an anxiety attack because all he knows is that he's about to go through another surgery again, and he was going to feel that pain that he felt again. So at the time, I had drove home to let the dog out and take care of some stuff around the house, and they were pushing him back for surgery. So I was driving, trying to rush back because he wanted to see me before he got pushed back. Very tough call. I talked to him on the phone as I was, on the way back, and, he was crying and stuff, but, I had to be strong for him, man. And, it was a very tough conversation. This is a picture of Jojo in recovery after the second surgery. Before the surgery, I did explain to him that, this surgery will help him be stronger. He won't have as much pain. He's going to be sedated. I explained to him that basically he'll be, falling asleep. Next thing he'll know, he'll be waking up. It'll feel like he was asleep for 2 minutes, but the surgery will be done. And, he was okay after this surgery. This is Jojo after the first day where he got his walker. He wasn't comfortable on the crutches, so he'd rather have a walker instead. So he received that, and this is where the nurse is actually showing him how to walk on it. He also got a wheelchair that day as well.
That's a dog. I'm done, man. It's
Day 2 has been a little bit rough. Jojo's kind of getting discouraged. He's asking why him, why me? He's kind of asking why did he have to be the one to get hurt, because I guess last time he broke his toe, but he recovered. This time he broke his leg. So I'm just trying to instill that mental toughness in him, man. And physically he's fine, he can handle it, but mentally it's gonna be a long road. So if you can, keep him in your thoughts and prayers. I had to slip into the bathroom downstairs to film. You get some crutches too? You don't get crutches yet, do you?
The walker.
The walker?
And the wheelchair.
Y'all playing. Y'all practicing.
I always got some stuff on. Something to read. Kill sometime. Maybe play board.
Heard you going for that monster.
Since my wife likes LeBron so much. See, I'm just gonna ignore all this going on right here and just.
$10 bill, $5 bill.
Okay,
Some muscle behind it.
David will come back and get your x-rays, and I'll take that off.
I want you to try to flex your foot back towards your head. It's going to be weak, but try your best. Keep your leg in that position.
Bon voyage. All right. Give that to Mr. Tycon, Joe. That paper. Oh, yeah, and I guess you need your homework that you've been doing. Have a good day.
It's that bull. I'm just gonna eat his breakfast on my head, walking to school, huh? That's that bull. What's over?
Alright, good. Hey, you too, you too. Alright, here we go.
Double jointed.
6 minutes. Is that resistance okay? Yeah. And the leg, just the foot. Like that. That'd be good for later when he does it.
What is Steph talk to? We'll go one more time.
Hi, Stinky.
What's up, man?
Is that for me?
yes.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, baby.
My son is obsessed with watching gruesome sports injuries. That's what he's been doing for the last 30 minutes.
Looks like it's getting better in terms of this. You're not kind of tilting out to the side or pushing off there.
Instead of this way.
I'm not saying this because it's my son. But out of any of the kids on the team, if I had to choose one that I felt could go through an injury like this and make a full recovery and not be, discouraged by the injury, I would have picked Jojo. I know him, obviously. His toughness and his determination. He's a hard worker, and he has a high threshold for pain, and and he's done a really good job of owning his own career and coming back as a student athlete and making his way back to the court. Now he's not where he was, as a player before he got hurt, but he missed a lot of work. He was down for a long time in a wheelchair for months on crutches. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't walking for about 5 months, and I'm impressed with the recovery that he's made, not only physically but mentally, and I'm looking forward to big things from him this year. See, this is my pet peeve. Game time in 11 minutes. We got 3 kids. They got their whole squad.
That's the corner. So that middle will be wide open, but we're going to swing the ball around. The corner's going to be open on the 1-3-1. If y'all swing the ball around, I promise you the corner's going to be open. All right? But you guys have to move, and you got to move the ball quick. You can't hold it. You got to move around quick, all right? More foul. There you go. There you go.
Cut, Joe. Cut. This is our first time this year playing at IMG. IMG has the NBA three-point line, the international three-point line, and the regular three-point line. Because the visual of the NBA three-point line was there, our boys wanted to just run to that NBA three-point line and try to shoot from there. Way out of their range. It was driving me crazy. Especially against a team like 5-Star. You can't. There's no margin for error against these guys. And by us shooting from back there, they really took advantage of it, man. We had low energy, and they pretty much smoked us.
You might call that a foul. Some refs, I don't know. They might, right? So when you get here, it's going 1, 2, then finish. Right? Bring that other foot down. I think you're done about one. Try to bring the other foot down. They look good. Man, nice. Good. Cross. Cross. Spin. Nice. John, what's your middle name? What grade are you in? Well, that's pretty You're not running the play.
Run, Xavier, get there.
Jogging down the court.
They did us dirty in this tournament, man. We just played at 2:45, and then they don't have us scheduled to play again until 6:30. So this game was over about 3:30, so we had a 3-hour layover. Yeah, there's not a game going on in this gym. We could be playing now, but we're playing travel ball, man. Sometimes it be like that.
Not really. As you can see.
Hey, y'all gotta play defense. Nice. There you go. And straight up. All right. Good rebound, Brian.
Nice pass.
Daddy, mommy.
Oh, good pass.
Oh, he was right over.
Good pass.
Hey, he got 3 rebounds. Hey, he's going to the back man. Let's go. All right, number 1.
Almost.
Nice play.
Woo! Good job, Jaquan!
Daddy.
Woo!
No shot, no shot.
Left side, left side.
Just throw it in the garbage or give it to your sister. There you go. Well, I'll give it to your sister. Alright.
Who's Jordan back there?
Go, Louie. Yeah, Lou.
Good job, Big Lou! Ah! Good job, Louis! you go. Nice. Let's go, Brian. Virginia. Good job, Wilson! Good job!
Were the 3 fouls Lions? I thought he had 2. He had the 3 fouls.
Come on, Louis! Woo!
Get another stop.
Good job, Louis! Good job! Let's go, boy! Woo! Good job, boy!
Florida Storm ain't a bad team, man. They're actually, pretty good. They're big. They have big size. But Orange is really coming together. I thought they really played well. I thought they locked down on defense. And once they, started, cutting after they passed, I think they really did a good job of scoring the ball. And, things are looking a lot better for Skills Center Elite 2025.
Cut! $75. Back up, Xavier. You got the cut. All right, you up? You back, Brian. Got to box out. Get him off of him, ref. I know y'all ready to go home, but you still got to do your job. Attack, attack, go, get there. And 1.
Skills Center Elite, nice job, guys. Nice job. Give yourselves a hand. Of the boys 5th grade division 2018 Transformers Sports Shootout.
First half of this championship game was horrendous. Low energy. These boys got to make me act crazy for them to start playing. to start the second half. I think we went on like a 14-0 run, took a 4-point lead. And then, 5-star lockdown, and they did what they do, man, and they were able to pull the game out and find a way to win. But, I felt like the Orange team really made them work for it this time. And, I was happy with the effort in the second half. So, looking forward to going to North Carolina next weekend, and let's see what we can do. But I say all of that to say this. Let's take this show on the road, baby. North Carolina, here we come. Believe that. But my rant is over. Philon